week
Woo.
2. Dustin, our co-host, is here, of course,
Hi.
and we have our very own commissioner of the league,
Yeah, the
the
commissioner.
commissioner, the GM of the Virginia. Uh, I don't even know how to. What, Halls with attitude? Yeah, that's what it is. It's Andrew.
What's up,
Welcome.
guys?
Um, just to start off, how is the new role coming along for you now?
Uh, it's about as annoying as I thought it would be, maybe a little bit more, because somebody wanted to change platforms.
That's true. It's a big transition, I'm sure,
It is
because
big.
we don't even know like how a lot of these like functions work before we implement them. So it's definitely been probably one of the harder years to be a commissioner, I think.
Yes, I think John asks me something about the rules like once a week, twice a week, maybe.
Oh, so he
Yeah.
is asking. Okay, I was assuming he wasn't.
No, sometimes it's like after the fact.
Okay. Well, other than that, your season has been going pretty well, right? Like you're 2-0, and I just want to take us back to the draft. And it seemed like you had a strategy where you didn't spend that much on QB. Was that a purposeful strategy? And how do you think it's working out so far?
I, I think it was definitely a purposeful strategy. And I think it's worked out okay. I think Kirk Cousins for whatever I got him for $23 is maybe not as good of a value as some of the guys who went for in the teens, right? But I think it's probably solid enough value compared to the guys who went for like $30+ and Aaron Rodgers, for example, as an outlier. That was definitely purposeful. Also, I didn't have much money coming into the draft.
Wow. So you were wise in how you spent it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually spent like $20 less than anybody else.
Man. Yeah, Dustin, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, so what do you think of how Josh Allen's done so far this year?
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen is a stud.
Whew.
Why didn't you keep Josh Allen instead of Sam Darnold?
I thought that it's the same reason I let Marlon Mack go, right? Those are like pure flaw guys.
Hmm.
I felt like
You can get
people
him
other than
cheaper than,
me,
right?
yeah, I just felt like people would undervalue them. So
Hmm.
I purposely didn't post any of my like 99 Josh Allen facts for the entire offseason.
So you were targeting Josh Allen the whole way?
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
It's your guy, and it's looked like it's paid off quite well for you so far.
So far. I
I
mean,
just I just want to say I convinced you to take him last year in the rookie draft when
Ooh.
I mean not all me, but like you were definitely like, oh, like should I? And I was like, just do it, like it'll be fun. And then I think that's contributed to your particular belief in Josh Allen compared to everyone else.
I think so. I also sit next to a guy at work who's like one of the few Buffalo Bills fans that
Yeah.
exist. So like anything, anytime something happens with Josh Allen, he like knows exactly what's going on, like how he's doing in camp. Literally every day this off season, he'd be like, "Oh, Josh Allen went 9 for 13 in red zone attempts in day 2 of training camp." I got all the news like right away.
Yeah, he's looking good. He is improving. He is definitely improving. Not just an athlete now. He's a QB. I really
Oh
like it.
yeah, I got the Wonku stamp of approval.
Yeah, he's throwing with anticipation, which I thought would never happen, but it's happening. It's happening, guys. Josh Allen.
Yeah, it was inevitable. He had the highest Wonderlic score of the entire QB class.
The
Okay.
Wonderlic is a staple of the Hua QB evaluation criteria.
That's correct. Although I think I missed on Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
Ooh.
42.
Ooh.
42 is a very solid score.
He's borderline genius.
Yep.
All right. So since we don't have too much time with the late start, we're gonna just go straight into the game that we play. We have to make a name for this, Dustin. I don't know exactly what to
We could
call it,
call it
but
like who you got, because like we're saying
oh
like
yeah.
who do you have compared to the
Wait,
line.
hold
So
on, hold on.
Yeah, what's up?
Are we not going to talk about how everyone in the league trashed my DK Metcalf pick?
you want to talk about
We
it?
can talk
This is
about
your
it.
time to
Let's go
talk.
back. Sorry, Juan. Sorry, Juan. We're back at DK Metcalf. First of all,
You're taking a victory lap already, though.
I'm taking like a medium speed victory lap.
I'm just saying. John took a victory lap for T.J. Hawkinson after week 1, and his week 2 wasn't quite as good. I think you might be putting pressure on DK Metcalf.
Yeah, he's going to have to show up this week because I traded everyone away and I'm starting him and Hollywood.
he is what we thought he was, though, right? He runs like a couple
Yeah.
routes. He does that, but
And it's just very effective.
he's
But
very
yeah,
effective.
he is what pretty much everyone thought he was going to be. Just it's been more effective than I guess some people thought.
Look at the yards per reception. Look at that. I mean, he's getting that deep ball, and it's from Russell
Yep.
Wilson. So it's gonna. We didn't hate it. I didn't hate Metcalf. I just hated where you took him. It's fine.
He wouldn't have fallen to the second round.
Not the second round. I mean, later in the first round. But it's cool. If you weren't looking to keep him, then I think it's fine, right? For maybe it's still keepable.
Possibly, but
Possibly, it's harder now.
Yep.
Are you satisfied? Do you want any other medium victory?
I'm not satisfied, but that's okay.
I mean, we could talk about Hollywood. I love Hollywood.
Oh yeah, I love Hollywood too.
He's amazing. He's so good.
dude, he's so efficient. Every time he's on the field, he's like breaking off like a 60-yard touchdown or something.
I saw some stat that he's been targeted on like 50% of his routes so far.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, and he can he just goes at a different level. Yeah, I mean, your team is good. I don't want to spend too much time here, or else everyone's gonna want the same amount of time allotment.
All right.
Their teams, but I will just add one last thing. Why do you hate Darren Waller and Mark Andrews? Why you like Jason Witten on your tight end spot? What was going on last week?
Yeah,
that was a miscalculation.
Okay.
I did have bids in for both those guys for
Okay.
guaranteed money, I think, and I was just outbid.
Got it. Just wanted clarification. Okay, cool. So let's just go to who you got between me and Dustin. So this is nice to just recap last week as well. So Dustin, his line was Mars -8, and I took Flushing, but Mars took the victory, 181.6 to 154.5. Let's take a look at that matchup here. So we got on the Mars side, Russell Wilson showing up with about 35 fantasy points, and then a bunch of pretty good scores with Austin Eckler, Carson Wentz, Aaron Jones, Odell Beckham Jr. showing up above 20. And then on the Flushing side, it's mostly below 20, except for the Cleveland defense. Yeah, any thoughts here, Justin?
Yeah, when I gave the line, I thought it was a little bit high, but it seems like Mars is pretty for real this year. Like Hamilton first week, and then a very very high score in the second week. So yeah, we should probably give him more credit going forward.
Yeah, I was surprised that he got over 180 here. It looked like he was going to struggle for a bit, but then he just came out. Still.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald's been like a really good pick. Like that offense just throws so much, and Eckler looks fantastic right now.
Maybe should have kept him. Well,
I don't think you can undersell Flushing though, because he's like one normal Deshaun Watson game from being competitive here, right?
True.
Watson was just like completely bottled up the entire game.
That's true, but I am surprised at the lack of 20-pointers. I guess Vance McDonald, wow, 18 points. But a lot of people went into double digits. I think that's where it's a balanced output here. Yeah, Terry McLaurin too, 14 points. But it's really
I tried to poach him, and I was too timid with my bid, I guess.
Yeah, Terry, man, he looked really good again.
Yeah.
And Le'Veon Bell, he's looking like a beast. But I do have concerns still with Damian Williams.
Yeah, and Mark Ingram, if he's not getting, if he's sharing too much of like the goal line carries with Gus Edwards, then it becomes a little bit less sure than it was in like week 1. So definitely a little bit of a worrying week in terms of those 2 running backs, but I mean they should probably bounce back at going forward.
Yeah, Adam Thielen too. I mean, he still got pretty good points, but you expect a lot more from your, around second round value. I don't
Yeah.
exactly know where he's supposed to go, but
Yeah.
I think the main storyline for me is still Mars with their
Yeah.
outburst, looking legit. Even with their Bears defense only going for 5 points, 4.8 points, it's still
Yeah.
they still
No, the sign of a good
do it.
team is like when someone doesn't step up, then it's coming from somewhere else, and like that's a lot of what happened like with him. Like Hawkinson was good week 1, but not good week 2. So like, someone else like steps up. Like Aaron Jones did well this week compared to, week 1. So I mean, that's the sign that like a lot of guys will like, keep your scores pretty high. So yeah, I think they're definitely one of the early favorites.
Looks like I have to go with Mars the next time. The next game here is Harlem plus 25 that I gave, and Dustin took Capital Region, and this was wrong. We were wrong here as Harlem took the victory.
Yeah.
174
Yeah, straight up.
to 171.8. I love also just a random fact how Fantrax has these 2 decimal places. It really is throwing me off here. The significant figures here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the story, New England defense, 63.11 fantasy points. And I don't, there was contributions from other people, but that's that's a lot of points coming from one spot. Pat Mahomes tried his best with 42, and Dak Prescott with 38, but still wasn't enough. So close, but wasn't enough to beat that defensive scoring. What was your thoughts here?
I mean, if your benchmark is number of 20-point games,
Yeah,
he's got like barely 1 on the Harlem side.
yeah, almost 2.
So I don't know. I think there's some holes here, but all the wins count, right? I think Ken is kind of who we thought he was.
Yeah, we can start with the hole at tight end. OJ Howard with a bagel, the good old 0 points.
Well, that's not his tight end, right? That's
oh
his.
my God, you're right. That's a flex spot.
It is. He has Kelsey, so yeah, it shouldn't be crushing to him if OJ Howard isn't a thing, because he still has like the best tight end. But yeah, playing him, getting a 0, like that would have really sucked if he lost by like 2 points or 3 points.
Right.
Has Devontae Adams always had a man bun?
I believe not. I want to say no.
Yeah, I don't think he's always had one.
Oh, he has?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Aaron Rodgers and his mustache. Anyways, yeah, with Ken's team, very strong team. It's weird. DeAndre Hopkins has not been performing as well, and same thing with Mike Evans. But hopefully they'll return. Alvin Kamara had a little bit of a dip as well, with no Drew Brees and the Saints being a little bit lackluster this week. But his QBs, man, Pat Mahomes and Dak Prescott, that's pretty ballin'.
Yeah, I mean, this is still a monster of a team. Like, even if they're 1-1, I don't know if there's a team that scares you more than Capital Region on your schedule. So, it does suck for him that he lost this one, but there's nothing to worry about because the team is performing as you would expect, or even better if you didn't see this Dak Prescott breakout coming.
Did you guys think that Duke Johnson was going to be the lead guy there? Because you've got Duke and Carlos Hyde on either side of this matchup, and that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, right. I did think it was going to be Duke, and I think I'm going to be wrong because Carlos Hyde is looking like he's got more attempts with more yards.
Yeah, no, Carlos Hyde looks surprisingly not done, although some people thought he was done. So, yeah, if there's one weakness to Capital Region, it's going to be running back. Like, Breida had a good game this time, but like he's always splitting carries, so you don't know how that's always going to shake out. And Duke Johnson is probably his one big weakness on his starting lineup.
Any concerns with the Saints offense now that it's Teddy?
Yeah, I think it affects like everyone that has a share of that offense, right? Like, um, he was thrown into the middle of the game, so it's hard to tell, but it didn't look like it was going to be the same offense. So, what happens? Like, if the volume is so much lower, like it could really hurt people that have important shares in their offense. So, yeah, like that's one thing he might have to worry about for a little bit. But Brees should be back at some point in the season, so it's probably not a super long term issue unless you need like wins every week. Yeah,
Yeah, Kamara and Lutz, the double dip in the Saints offense.
yeah.
Chris Carson had some issues holding onto the ball. Any concerns for that in Harlem?
Yeah, I mean Penny looks like he did well, and Carson has like 3 fumbles in 2 games or something. So
Something like that.
definitely could be something that turns it into more of a split. Whereas it looked like Carson was locked in as the guy that was getting carries.
Yeah, well, you might be monitoring that. I think. Don't you have Rashad Penny?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, no, after the second fumble, Chris Carson like got taken out of the game, right? And he had like I want to say I mean everyone points to him getting that last fourth down conversion at the end of the game. But like until they were at that play, he hadn't been in the game for like any snaps for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting. I think that is yet to shake out that situation. So, and I feel like the Seahawks backfield, over the past like half decade or so, there's almost every year there's been some sort of turnover in the
Yeah,
backfield, like early in the season when somebody screws up or something like that.
seems like it. Um, yeah, quickly before we move on, I know we talked about the panicometer last time. Are we panicking if you're Harlem?
I mean 1-1. That's much better than 0-2, obviously, and there are some problem spots, but like taking a 0 from OJ Howard, he has to figure out what's happening at that flex spot going forward. The running backs are kind of just like adequate or like slightly below average, so he needs the strength to be elsewhere because you can't expect 60 points, from your defense every week. So yeah, I'd be a little bit worried, but this bought him enough time to like, not have to make a desperation move. So
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
New England, like I think that's like the hallmark of like a pretender is if you're competitive every week because your defense is carrying you. But New England actually has a ridiculous schedule for like the next 5 weeks, so he could actually
Yeah.
coast on that, for a while.
Oh my God, you're right.
yeah, it's
That's
really soft.
insane. That's insane. Yeah, never mind. No panic at all. He's got this. All right, we'll move on to Yonkers even line from Dustin. And I took Yonkers, which was wrong. New England scored 192.95 versus Yonkers 144.35.
Yeah, Hamilton for New England this week, right?
Hamilton. I just want to comment on that Hamilton. It was because of Mark Andrews. If it wasn't
Yeah,
for
the
that,
the
I would.
stack
Yeah, what a
the
ten.
stack was very very profitable for you.
A $10 pickup is what I meant to say. But yeah, I had pretty even scoring from most of my players. It's led by Lamar Jackson's 39.5, but some good scoring overall. Yonkers had um, some lulls, especially from Drew Brees because he got hurt. But Tom Brady led the way with about 32 fantasy points. Saquon, of course, did his Saquon things with 22. Yeah. Well, what you think?
I think that just broadly speaking, this is like I think Yonkers is a really good team, but they're just very injured right now. So I think for the rest of the division, it's like the next couple of weeks we have a chance to gain a couple games on Jay, right? Because he's lost Hill and Breeze,
Yes.
and I see a whole bunch of red flags
Oh boy.
there.
Tevin Coleman is
Tyrell.
is someone for him.
Oh yeah, Tevin Coleman. Yep.
Yeah, that's actually missed games
Yep.
that could have started for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so missing those guys and still being able to put up 140 plus is
True.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, he got a 0 from Drew Brees and was still able to put up 144, right? So if he had a QB score around 25 or so, yeah, he's putting up a good number. Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, the Tyreek Hill injury, I thought he could like weather pretty easily because he is so strong everywhere.
Yeah.
But the Drew Brees injury does kind of like, if he loses like 2 out of the next 3 games while, Drew Brees is out, then he could be chasing games in a playoff race that could make it really hard for him. So I am curious to see, how he does without Brees and Tyreek Hill. It could be some like if he loses next week, don't you have to like if it's because like the QB isn't up to like replacing Drew Brees, then doesn't he have to like start thinking about making a move?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because of all the injuries, I think I would. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Yeah, I need to check who he faces next week because yeah, that could be key. Um,
Did he pick up a quarterback, or is he starting D Jones?
I think we'll
He's
get into
starting
that.
D
Yeah, I
Jones as of
think it's
now, I
D
think.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, spicy.
I hope he's facing Duo. That'd be funny. Um,
Wait, is he actually? That's not allowed.
what?
You're not allowed to poach from someone you're facing.
No, he's
Oh,
facing Ken. So,
okay.
this is going to be tough for him because that's like a potential tiebreaker game and,
Ooh, you're right.
he's hurt right now, so
That's a good point.
yeah, so
Just want to throw in the Mark Andrews revenge game narrative. Yonkers, I don't want to say
dropped him.
inexplicably because he did drop him for a very useful player in Tyrell Williams, but he
Yeah.
did drop him um, in the beginning of the season for that. But yeah, I think things are going pretty well for my team. Christian McCaffrey didn't score that much, but a lot of other people did, and so even with my quote unquote ugly QB situation, it's like everyone else's got as ugly as mine, so it's pretty fun.
Your QB situation is looking pretty good now. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Warren was doubting him, but it looks like, I mean, two like examples is a pretty strong evidence that he's like actually grown as a passer. So
Yeah, Paul, you got any thoughts before we move on?
No, not. I mean, are you concerned about Michael Thomas?
Not
that's true with Drew
especially.
Brees.
I even
Could be a lot less touchdowns available for him if Bridgewater isn't that good.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and McCaffrey is like I don't know what the impact on him of Cam like not being on the field is, but it's probably not positive, right?
yeah, for sure. Although the hurt version that we saw of Cam wasn't helpful either. So
Yeah, it could get better if just you know Kyle Allen is just healthy and able to like throw beyond like 15 yards without heaving it.
I think they'll both get volume, McCaffrey and Thomas. That's my short way of interpreting it. I think they'll get
That's
volume,
true.
but
Yeah.
touchdowns, I don't know. We'll see.
Plus,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is going to benefit from the further ascension of Hollywood.
Oh my God, yeah, that connection was just so good. And then of course I love the connection with Mark Andrews too. Mandrews. So I keep talking about him. Anyways, we'll next move on to Virginia. I gave it Virginia -5, and then Dustin took great kills, and Virginia took it home with 148.9 to 119.05. So
Yeah, I just want to say Virginia's just beat up on the two 0-2 teams, so I think
ooh,
he's a very soft 2-0.
That's probably true. Although when I was looking at my schedule, like coming into the season, I
Yeah,
did not expect. I was like, "What the hell?" I'm starting out with a pretty rough schedule, just like based on
history.
the historical track record of the
yeah,
teams, but it has obviously not worked out that way.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys both had struggling games from your kickers and your defenses, but Virginia, you got really good scoring from Dalvin Cook, Julio Jones. I would say your stars, and then of course Josh Allen led the way with 28.3, and then great kills. You guys had Zeke, your superstar, but the QBs
Yeah.
didn't really
Not
show
not
up that
much
much.
else. Yeah,
20 for Baker, 17 for Phillip Rivers, but that's about it. Cooper Cup was pretty good with 15, but
yeah. But our
yeah.
team is like allergic to touchdowns right now. Like
Uh,
It's a struggle every weekend. So yeah, this wasn't very fun to sit through either.
That's true. Cooper Cup like had one and was like, I don't want this touchdown.
Yeah. He was like, put me at the half-yard line. That's good enough for me.
Even Rivers has no touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
was a pretty boring week for us.
Wow.
But on Hua's side, it's the second week in a row that you got a 0 from tight end.
Ouch.
Hey, I had like 1 point the first week.
Oh, did Ebron get 1 point?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like
Yeah,
a 3 yard
come on.
reception or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
You picked up
I
Jason Wynn. Is Jason Wynn gonna get over 3 points this week?
I'm shooting for 16 tight ends in 16 weeks and seeing if I can get less than 16 points out of them.
Well, you keep winning, so maybe it'll work out. Yeah,
They
we
say tight end on the Virginia Hua is like the defense against the dark arts job in Hogwarts. That's what they're saying out on the streets.
I think we talked a lot about your team, Hua, so we might not talk a lot about it here. I guess my only thing is with Juju. Any concerns?
Yeah. Look, there's some concern there, but I do think, I mean, Dustin probably has scouted Mason Rudolph, but
Mm,
I had a bid in for him too. I think he's a little bit underrated and has gone under the radar because Big Ben is like such a diva.
yeah.
Um, but I don't think he's not any worse of a prospect than, or he's certainly a better prospect than the guys who are like stepping into starting roles because of injuries everywhere else in the league. So I have some hope that Juju will be fine.
Let's let you talk about it, Dustin. Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. So he's another guy that doesn't have a super strong arm, but he is pretty accurate and he has a good sense of decision making on the field. So I actually think Juju will be mostly fine. The touchdowns might be a little bit lower just because the offense might be a little bit worse, and he probably doesn't have you know a good rapport with Juju. But I think his volume will be still where it was before. So I don't see it hugely affecting you, but slight downgrade probably. Yeah.
Is he gonna get the starting nod from you, or is it?
No, he's just the guy that we're speculating on. Let's see,
Okay.
like it's a good offense historically, so we'll plug him in and or he'll get plugged in and we'll see if he takes control of the job.
Yeah, and then you've got perhaps a situation for your flex with D.D. Westbrook not showing up.
Yeah, so hopefully Demarcus Robinson, who we picked up the week before. I mean, it is very random, I think, in Kansas City who gets the
The 80
touchdowns
yard.
and the long passes. But that offense is just so explosive that like the upside with any player that you plug in is pretty much like 2 touchdowns and 170. So like that might not be consistent, obviously, but it's a fine play just because the booms are so good. But yeah, like we need just more overall scoring from the rest of our team. Like they had a couple of them had like decent games, but like just without the touchdowns, it's not gonna win you any fantasy matches.
Yep. Gotta take your shots. You got anything else, Walt, before we move on?
Nope.
All right, last game here, LIC +8. Dustin took Oakland, and if anyone's keeping track, we got all of the picks wrong this week, except for this one, where Dustin got it right. Oakland 162.25, with LIC scoring 146.7. So we're either bad at picking or good at setting lines. I don't know what it is, but anyways, let's take a look here. So Oakland was led by Matt Ryan with 26.55, Matthew Stafford 22.5, and that's, I think, a lot of scoring throughout. The LA Rams showed up with 20.8 fantasy points against the Saints defense. That's pretty good. And then LIC, they're led by Jared Goff with 25.8. Emmanuel Sanders, wow, he had a big day, 28.8 fantasy points, and the Houston defense 16.2. Oh no, Nick Chubb with 18.05. Man, let's start with LIC. Not looking good, right? With Cam getting hurt, Alshon getting hurt, and Joku getting hurt. Just the story of this team. Oh, Singletary getting hurt. It's just not looking good.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries now, and being 0-2, it's kind of hard to wait on those guys. So they did make a trade for sending out some receivers that are hurt and getting back some receivers that are healthy. So
What?
Yeah, Dustin, we were just talking about this earlier, but I think longer term, I think it's kind of funny that like half of Warren's team this year was my team last year.
Oh. Oh.
it's true. He had a lot of guys that were on Haw's team last year.
That is, I did
Like
not realize that.
Jordan Howard is a classic Hua guy.
2018 Hua guy.
Yeah, 2018 Hua guy and Kenyon Drake was a big 2018 Hua guy.
Wow.
A lot of guys that you would think that Warren would not be, wanting a piece of, but he has a lot of those guys that like aren't sexy and went pretty cheap as a result.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, even though he's 0-2, it could be part of a strategy. I mean, the wins right now, they don't matter as much as later in the season for him. He'll pick it up, and I'm sure he'll be in the thick of things, perhaps even make the playoffs, and then of course get the victories that are the most important at the end of the season. Um, Oakland, man, Calvin Ridley with 20 points. It's pretty impressive. What do you guys think?
I thought Calvin Ridley looked great.
Yeah,
Like he was like a bright spot for that team. Matt Ryan heaved it to him. I mean, I think we all watched that game, right? Because it was one of the primetime games.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
He just kept targeting him on these
Double
long
covered,
bombs in the end zone.
triple covered, just
So I think the stack is, probably going to work out for Duho. I mean, he's been trying to make that stack happen for a while.
yeah. Any concerns with Kittle? He hasn't really been doing much.
I'd be a little bit concerned just because Kittle really broke out with you know, beat Harden and Mullen instead of Garoppolo, but he he's so talented that I think it'll grow and he'll eventually become like their number one target again. But you have to be a little bit antsy, I guess, if you're a duo right now.
So this is just like a sneak preview of the power rankings, which I'm not sure if they're out yet or not. But Oakland is by far the hardest to get right in terms of the rankings. I think that's the consensus right now. Everyone else, you get a good feel for where they are at this moment in the rankings. But Oakland has a little bit of disagreement. So I just wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on, is Oakland a good team, actually?
Yeah, why? What do you think?
Hold on, let me just pull up his bench. I think the starting lineup is actually pretty well rounded, but his running backs can be kind of polarizing, right? Like I think depending on what you think of that Arizona offense that they're running, and we've only seen it a couple times, you could think that he could actually be a top five running back or not. And Sony Michelle, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not in the brain of Bill Belichick, right? But he could have that 4 touchdown game upside, or you could have that like 2 point game upside if he just doesn't feel like using them that week.
Right.
So that to me, that's where it swings, because he's got actually pretty decent starting receivers and good quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think I lean more towards his team actually being pretty good. Like, I keep waffling on it, but I think it's actually pretty good. He's got good talent at wide receiver. I do think Kittle is going to be fine. I like his QBs, even though Matt Ryan has looked really, really dumb sometimes. But other than that, I think it could be pretty solid. It could be legit.
I'm a little lower on them just because if you look at their roster, there just isn't a superstar player like maybe George Kittle for tight end, but like that hasn't really looked like it's a thing this year. So he needs like everyone to like contribute with solid like 9 to 15 point games like every week, and I just think like it's like really tough to ask, and he's gonna have too many weeks where that doesn't happen. So I'm still not sold on the team, but I mean they're
Well,
1-1, so their season could go anywhere from here.
do you think David Johnson isn't that superstar or can't be that superstar? I mean, I actually am a little bit down on the team after I pulled open the bench because there's not a lot of depth there. But
Uh-huh.
and like if he has like a bunch of bye weeks, he's going to be starting literal backup running backs in the NFL.
Right. Yeah. I
But
mean,
I do
yeah,
think can't David Johnson be that
David
top
Johnson
10 pick?
can be that guy,
Yeah.
and he pretty much has to, I think, for this team to like really be in playoff contention, and it's definitely possible. So if he does turn out like, because that offense has so much volume that if he just starts turning out really good games, then that's no worse than you know some of the other teams that are in the mix for the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, as of now, like I'm not completely sold on it yet, so I'm just not seeing the type of superstar talent that can win you weeks by themselves, really.
Right.
And I just think it'll be too hard to keep everyone like consistent. But yeah, they're 1-1, so they can really go anywhere from here, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can move on. I was going to say, what would you do if you were LIC? Just going back to
Yeah,
LIC for a bit, but I think he is taking a pretty good approach with his trade, and we can just transition to that because we're done with our last week's review. So let's look at
yep,
the trades here. I'm just getting used to this this website as well. Yeah, so
yeah,
the major trade this week was between LIC and Virginia. There were some other trades, but I don't think we'll have time to talk about them. Just some minor trades.
yeah. Some minor like free agent budget for end of bench guys mostly.
Sorry, I need to find this trade. I am struggling with this new website. Where is it?
Quad, you just want to talk about
Oh, it's
how
on
the
trades.
deal
Oh,
came
I'm sorry.
together?
I'm sorry.
What?
So
Did you
it's
find it?
I can do it from memory. Yeah, AJ Green, Alshon Jeffrey, going to
If
Virginia.
you go to the homepage, it's like right in the homepage. All right,
It's okay.
whatever.
I'll also look at the the trades transaction history. But yeah, Julian Edelman and Corey Davis going back the other way. Is that all to the deal? I forget if that's it.
Oh, I also gave 3 fab.
All right. So I think the intention is clear here, but you can talk about it here. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Everyone in the league probably knows I've been trying to trade receivers, and unfortunately, I didn't get anything other than receivers back. But it does buy me some time here. I think I also have like a fully stuffed roster where I don't have enough, like long-term injured guys to put people on the IR, right? So this gives me some flexibility, and then I think buying AJ Green right now, I'm hopeful that he's back in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and this trade looks good. But obviously, I'm sacrificing the real trade I'm making here, right? Is while we're not in the bye weeks yet, is I'm downgrading from Julian Edelman this week to, I don't know, like I'm probably starting DK Metcalf instead. So
sure.
everyone probably has their own opinion on how many points I'm losing uh, with that downgrade. But I thought it was probably the right gambit to turn those, I don't know, half dozen points into AJ Green down the line.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I don't have too many issues with it, honestly, if you put it that way. I don't think it's that big of a difference between Edelman and Metcalf. My concern is that will AJ Green be the AJ Green that we know when he comes back? Um, that's more of where I have slight concerns. Although it's only time will tell, right? Like I wouldn't worry about when he'll come back. He's going to come back, so that's fine. And you have time now with your 2-0 start, so it's really a question of will he be the star that he was.
The interesting thing is I was pretty down on the Bengals
Yeah,
coming in,
yeah,
but I think Dalton, as you know, has looked way better than anyone expected. So maybe it's the new offense they installed, but AJ Green has been productive when healthy the last couple of years in just like terrible offenses. So maybe there's some upside to how he's performed
sure.
the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got any thoughts, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what
Yeah,
Huawei was thinking. He's 2-0, and he's looking more long term. Even if he does lose a game or two in the meantime, he's hoping that when it all comes together, his team is going to be stronger for it, and it's a lot easier to do that when you're 2-0. From Warren's side, from LIC side, they're desperate. They're 0-2. They need a win. They had a lot of injuries, right?
right.
I just think, I mean, that was a lot to give up for just Julian Edelman starting this week, right? Because he's not starting Corey Davis. I get that he had to make a trade for guys he could play, but I just wonder if you know trading them separately or something else might have gotten them back more because AJ Green and Alshon Jeffrey like they're very injury prone. They're not like super young. They're not super sexy, but like look at Hua's like wide receivers now. Like it's pretty scary when healthy. So I think this is a very very big win for Virginia, and LIC if they win this week, it'll all be worth it. But at what cost? Their team is a lot weaker going forward, I think.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it's a situation where he needs to think about that when it comes, right? Because he when he looks at AJ Green, he doesn't care about he doesn't think about how good he is when he comes back. He's thinking about the when does he come back part. He just needs him as fast as possible, and so
All right,
it's kind
yeah.
of just
Yeah, I just wonder if
gotta
Edelman
get
was the
that
best
now.
he could get back.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point though. Yeah,
I
Hua's
also don't
good.
I also don't think highly of Corey Davis, so I
Oh,
think that's like that for $16 I would probably like just rather not have him. If winner I don't know if I would ever feel that comfortable starting Corey Davis unless that offense just starts looking better. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah, but I get what he was trying to do. Like if he goes 0-3, he's thinking the season's over. So
Ah,
get
yeah,
whatever deal.
it's never over. You can't count anyone out. That's what I learned last year. You cannot count anyone out, and he knows
Yeah,
that
that's
too.
what I think too. Yeah.
He knows that too. It's clearly so.
Hey,
Um,
hey,
yeah.
Wonk, you guys have an angry listener here. Diaz is kind of pissed off about
What?
some comments that have been made.
Oh, which one? Someone bring up the chat. I can't. I
He,
can't.
he says, "Wow, I need to be in panic mode, but Warren is fine. SMH."
I think Warren should be in more panic mode than Diaz, and I think he is in more panic mode than Diaz because of this trade. This
Yes.
trade shows that he is. I mean, Wonky was just
Just asking.
being nice. Yeah, he was saying like, oh, Warren will be fine, but I mean, both me and Warren have to be in some
Oh,
in some form of panic mode for sure.
how did we miss that you were an 0-2? Yeah, that's true. Sorry, Diaz. That's a good point. We did miss that you were 0-2. I think we covered the the other teams better than we did yours, Dustin. Are you
Yeah.
panicking?
This is my worst start since 2008. 2008 was the last time we lost both, or I lost both games to start the season. So definitely some uncharted waters for me. But I'm not panicking like only because there's nothing that will help by panicking. Like most of the guys, like I just need them to perform. It's not a matter of like something that I feel like is like super missing from my lineup.
Sure.
Like obviously it could be better, but the bigger issue is that like guys that I'm like stuck with aren't performing as well as they could or should be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I am worried, but panicking isn't really gonna get me out of the situation. So it's just have belief, and we'll handle it as it comes. If we do lose this week, then we have to just adjust to that. And not every season is like like there's not always one goal, and like we might have to rebuild, but it's all part of the process. So we're not panicking.
Man, you stuttered a lot there.
Yeah, I am panicking a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, panicking is such
Wait,
a
did
strong word,
you
but yeah,
did,
go
did
ahead.
you give the reins over to Matt Moore this season?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Matt's making all the final decisions. We basically switch roles. Like he's gonna be taking charge of most decisions, and I'll just be providing support. But I don't think Matt's that worried. I'm probably more worried than he is. Like
Oh,
he believes in the team that we drafted, and I do think a lot of our matchups were really tough the first 2 weeks.
sure.
To be fair, so I gotta hope that with better matchups, like it'll turn around. So
How
yeah, I
long?
mean, it is what it is.
How long
yeah,
is the
if
leash
you
on
if you
him?
go 0-3,
Is
Al
Dustin?
Davis is coming out
Yeah,
of
is Dustin
out of the
coming
owner's
back?
box
How
onto the
long is the leash?
sideline.
No, I don't think that's the issue. It's just
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
you
We're
know,
kidding. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
we'll go to the free agents here. Yeah, I think you can kind of tell who's in more of desperation mode. I don't want to say panic. Panic is such a strong word again because
Yeah.
it's just not good for anyone to be panicking.
Yeah, panic is like negative. It should just be like,
No one should panic.
no,
Oh,
urgent, more
holy
urgent,
shit! Raheem
urgency.
Mostert went for $16.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he did. Yeah, so that's where I'm saying the desperation mode has come out in full force for LIC here. You can see it with 16 dropped on Raheem Mostert, who has it's like a ticking time bomb, right? Like he has value over that time, but then it's gonna go away, and maybe that's all LIC needs at this current point.
Yeah, LIC is just focused on this week. You can pretty much tell like
Yeah,
they've thrown away like any like long-term stashes that they were thinking of, and they're pretty much all in on getting this win. So yeah, it's not panic, it's urgency, and that's a very very good approach to being 0-2, I think.
everyone's in it. That's again, we saw last year. I'm not counting anyone out until they're actually mathematically eliminated.
Yeah.
We covered Mason Rudolph, but I thought that was a great bid at $9 getting him. I agree with both of your guys' points. Mason Rudolph is apparently he's not underrated if we all agree that he's pretty good. So we'll see how it goes though. There's obviously uncertainty in that. We got Nelson Aguilar going for $8 to Flushing. Huh. I didn't know that they needed wide receiver depth. Let me take a look. Do you guys have thoughts on Nelson Aguilar?
I mean,
it's probably a temporary rental, similar to Mostert, right? Because it's pretty crowded there as soon as everyone else gets back. But I think if you needed one guy for 1 week, it was pretty clearly the best option, I think, on the waiver wire.
Yeah, Dustin?
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, they might be missing Deshaun Jackson and
Deshaun Jackson?
Alshon Jeffrey. So
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought you were talking about Flushing missing him.
no. So yeah, Aguilar could be in for a pretty big game just because of a opportunity. So yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I just want to say, like, just looking at most of the practice squad ads, like, are you surprised by anyone? Like, did you particularly like any of the practice squad ads?
I was most surprised by Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
But it seems like this is the direction that a lot of people are taking the practice squad, getting these backup running backs.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a trend. And a lot of talk about Will Greer, but he wasn't picked up. So I guess those were my two biggest surprises.
Yeah. I like Paris Campbell for me. I thought that's a combination of a guy that could get a bigger role and a guy that has like, a lot of unknown upside just because, he's a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, Chase Edmonds and Ty Johnson is more of a speculation on someone who might get injured. But yours has like a little bit of both, I think. So yeah, I think that was a really good ad.
Well, you have thoughts on the practice squad other than a little bit of anger?
No, it's just mostly anger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Yeah, we'll see. I do like Ohio State wide receivers. Yeah, what else is here? We got a bunch of defenses went off. Yeah, DJ Chark at 6. I was not expecting to get him. If you looked at the way that I had my ads, I just had him and then like a bunch of other people that I wanted, kind of. But I just wanted to set the benchmark. Like, this guy, I think, should go for 6.
Right.
And you need to beat me to get him.
Yeah.
And
Could be a sneaky good ad, I think.
yeah, I got him. What you think, Walt?
Yeah, I've always liked DJ Chark. I think that receiver corps has always been like too crowded to really make out who's going to emerge. But I think, what was it? His measurables were like one of the best of any receiver in last year's draft, right?
Yes, I believe so. I can't remember. He's fast. I remember
he's tall. He's tall and he's fast. Yeah.
Yeah, 40 time is very important in Virginia.
40 time is very important for New England's QBs.
Yeah, fast QBs.
I'm just kidding. Jacoby's pretty slow, probably. Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think in terms of the free agent, just in like overall themes, the big questions for me were the QBs that were gonna get added, and then also the running backs. So for QBs, I think we covered Mason Rudolph, but I see also Case Keenum, who's doing pretty well. John pointed out that he was the fifth highest scoring QB in the league. I'm not sponsored by John here, but yeah, that's pretty surprising. And then Drew Lock was picked up in the practice squad, and then we also had a couple perhaps interesting backups, but I don't think they were picked up.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater wasn't picked up. I was a little bit surprised just because Sean Payton usually draws up a pretty good offense, and there are good weapons there. So I thought he was going to get picked up, but nobody's a believer in Teddy Bridgewater, I guess.
Maybe it was those comments that Peyton had about Taysom Hill.
Yeah, that's
Scared
true.
people
If
off.
he's splitting too much of the snaps, then I guess you wouldn't want a big piece of that.
Especially at the goal line.
Yeah.
Running back, the last thing here, we covered Mostert, but there's a couple interesting ads. Darrell Williams, I picked him up. Tony Pollard to Mars, and Frank Gore to Harlem.
Well, Tony Pollard wasn't actually added.
Oh, sorry, you're right. My bad. Scratch the Tony Pollard. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, I mean Frank Gore has a really good matchup this week, so especially if Singletary is out, so that's a good ad. But I just question it because he doesn't seem to have a starting spot for Harlem, and I don't know how much long-term value Frank Gore has, so I wonder if we're going to see him get traded at some point.
20 more years.
Man.
And then the
Harlem just loves these slow running backs. Look at this.
It's so funny hearing it from you.
I'm a new man.
I know, you apparently are. The rest of this is defenses. I can go over quickly for me. I just like Green Bay's talent. I spent quite a bit. They're facing Denver this week. It's a great matchup, and I think they have a couple good matchups for a couple weeks at minimum. So I'm thinking long term with Green Bay on my defense slot. Jacksonville has a great matchup for tonight. He's got him at $1 LIC. And then Flushing also picked up Tampa Bay. They faced Daniel Jones' debut, and then Hua also picked up Tennessee. But you spent 9. You want to elaborate, Hua?
I don't know. I think getting like no points from my kicker last week just really pissed me off because it's like you can have all your like actual players do well, but my kicker and defense, gave me like 3 points total, so I just overbid. I went $2 on Eddie Pinheiro, and then I had $9 bids on both Tennessee and Jacksonville because I just kind of wanted to watch tonight's game and have like an interest in it, and they were both pretty good matchups. So I ended up getting Tennessee over. I think that the thought process was Gardner Minshew on like a short week. Maybe it wasn't the best.
Yeah.
That's a poor thought process.
Oh man! And then you also spent $5 to Jason Witten, but we kind of covered that, so I think we're good with that. Let's move on to who we got for next week.
Yeah, let's run through it real quick. You set the first one.
I set the first one. Wait, no, don't you set the first one?
Oh yeah, you're right. You set the first one. Yeah, okay.
Let's go to the home.
All right, matchups. All right, Great Kills, LIC even.
Great Kills. Who's at home for that?
LIC is.
Ooh. Oh, it's already tough from the start. I'm gonna take a look at it.
We're both 0-2, so it's very important for one of these teams is going to be very, very sad, and one of these teams is gets to continue playing the season pretty much.
I think Goff is facing Baker too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Am I picking also, or do I not play?
You don't play, but you can talk. You can talk.
Oh. Yeah, you can.
Taking LIC. What do you think, Wal?
I'm taking Great Kills on a 50-point performance from Dallas defense.
Oh, I missed that. Oh no, I
True.
didn't see that.
No backsies.
Oh my god. Okay, whatever. Just shake it off. Oh man, I'm gonna go with the capital region. Is at home minus 12.
I'm gonna take Capital Region.
Man, I made it too low. You answered so quickly.
I'll give you.
It's because he's so hurt, Jay.
Yeah. I'll say Mars minus 15.
Mars minus 15. Who's he facing?
Oakland. Mars is at home.
I think I'm gonna take Mars. Yeah, I'll take Mars.
Oh man.
What you think, Hua, of the last two?
I'm probably on board with Capital
Minshew!
Region.
Are we seeing it this live? Are we
Yeah,
getting the live
Minshew.
reaction?
Yeah, Minshew.
What do you
Okay.
do?
To who?
Threw a
To
touchdown.
who? To who?
Tight end, I think.
Ah, come on, DJ.
All right. I'm taking Duho.
Oh wow, man. Well, you should.
I'm not a believer. Not a believer in John's team, I guess.
I like Duho's team. It's underrated.
Okay, that's fair.
Who's home for Virginia Harlem here?
Harlem is.
This one is tough. Harlem plus 5.
I'll take Harlem.
Oh.
I feel good about Harlem.
I'm not gonna pick this.
You're not gonna pick that one? All right. And then the last one is your game, right, Wonku?
Yes.
Whew.
I'm away.
All right.
Flushing.
I'll give you. Damn. All right, New England. Minus 9. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Flushing. Cool. You have any thoughts there? Well,
That's a tough one. I think I'd probably take New England, but I think the line is pretty close.
yeah, it's
Thank
close.
you. Thank you, Hua.
So,
Hua's approval.
I think with that, unless you guys have any closing thoughts here, we're good to go.
No, I'm excited to watch Gardner Minshew, so let's wrap this up.
Did I forget to do Picks and Pick'em again? All right. Well, anyways, I think I did. Yeah. We'll be back as always next week. Till then, see you guys.
Did you really throw a touchdown already?
Peace.
Peace.